Hey there, fellow listeners. Welcome to Red Hunt, where I delve into the depths of relationship Reddit stories that will both amaze and captivate you. So grab your favorite snack, sit back, and let's explore the world of love, heartbreak, and everything in between, together. My GF of 7 years has befriended someone who has really put a damper on our relationship. We initially met this person and their fiancé through mutual friends. She is 33 and her fiancé is 37. Initially, we only hung out with her fiancé, but eventually met her. One time, our group planned a trip, and we agreed to stay at an Airbnb with the two of them. That's when we started noticing some unusual behavior. The entire mini getaway turned into a temper tantrum by this person about the plans we had all agreed on beforehand. We didn't even have a say in which Airbnb to stay at. Almost all of our plans, including her fiancé's, were pushed aside. We had to fight her to make one plan work, and she blamed me for not wanting to go to a fancy restaurant, embarrassing me in front of everyone. She decided my clothes weren't good enough for the place, even though the three of us had fought to check it out. She got so upset with me that she separated herself from us temporarily. I even offered to buy better clothes, but she said we didn't have enough time. Eventually, after an hour of arguing, we finally went, and everything was fine. My outfit was actually better than what everyone else was wearing, but she still made remarks about it at the table. This was just one of the many mishaps on that trip. At that point, my girlfriend and I decided it was best to distance ourselves from this person and her fiancé. Fast forward to today, a couple of years later. Since we still have mutual friends, avoiding these people has been impossible for us. Over time, this person has aggressively tried to hang out with my girlfriend. She has a way of forcing herself onto us and into our plans. For example, she'll suggest we host a bonfire, and when we make excuses to avoid her, she'll keep insisting and offering to bring things. We usually give in to avoid causing a scene. It's hard to explain, but her persistence catches us off guard every time. She has even invited herself over to our place numerous times. She makes plans with my girlfriend, while forcing me and her fiancé to do something else, either together or separately. She's even tried to organize girls-only vacations, even though my girlfriend and I rarely have time off together. It has become overwhelming, and other friends in our group have tried to tell her to respect our boundaries. Now she refers to my girlfriend as her bestie, even though the feeling isn't mutual. This is when her true colors start to show. Since I'm the one who usually interferes with her ridiculous plans, she treats me terribly. We've realized that she is undoubtedly sexist, consistently putting men down and making offensive remarks. She talks to her fiancé in this manner regularly, but it's out of line for her to say such things to me, especially when I've made it clear that I find it rude. Her fiancé is actually one of the sweetest guys I've ever met. There have been times when I've come up with plans for me and her fiancé, but she would completely disregard them and make us do something else, while the girls do something separate. She even ruined our Tuesday routine, which used to be going out for tacos and trivia with another group of friends. I really looked forward to it every week. However, when she found out about it, she started showing up every Tuesday without any notice. She even invited herself over for our Thanksgiving dinner, which upset my girlfriend. It's also overwhelming, and I've told my girlfriend that I'm done being friends with them. Yet they still feel it's okay to impose themselves and force plans on us through my girlfriend. Here's the last issue. It feels like this person is jealous of my relationship with my girlfriend. There have been instances where she has made comments about wanting to make out with my girlfriend while under the influence. We've also had arguments where she accuses me of not knowing certain things about my girlfriend, even though we've been together for 7 years, while this person has only known us for 2. It's off-putting and uncomfortable when she raises her voice and argues, especially in front of our friends. I have a gut feeling that she is deliberately trying to push me away and come between us. There have been times when she has tried to create division between my girlfriend and me during debates or discussions, speaking for my girlfriend until my girlfriend intervenes and tells her to stop. It almost feels like we're being suffocated by her. We can't even go on a simple date night without upsetting her for not including her. It has gotten to the point where my girlfriend has to lie or ghost her for a day just to avoid her wrath the following day. I don't even feel comfortable sharing anything on social media without her getting upset. Am I crazy for thinking that this is all intentional? To sum it up, this friend has been intruding on our relationship. Wow, this person sounds like an absolute nightmare. It's so frustrating when someone forces themselves into your plans and doesn't take the hint when you try to avoid them. And the fact that they're constantly disrespecting you and your girlfriend is just unacceptable. It's definitely not controlling or pathetic to want some boundaries and space in your own relationship. It sounds like distancing yourselves from this person is the best course of action, even if it means cutting ties with mutual friends. You deserve to have a peaceful and enjoyable relationship without someone constantly causing problems. My on-again off-again relationship with my ex is tearing me apart. Me and my former partner have been caught in a whirlwind of infrequency and emotion since, I'd say, late August 2023. She dumped me on the day of our anniversary, but implied she would still like to be friends. Despite that statement, we quickly fell back into relationship behavior, exchanging intimate pictures and messages, pet names, jealousy, etc. These spells of bliss would quickly be disrupted by her ending things with me once again, and us having to have big emotional conversations over and over and over again. She'd claim she didn't love me anymore, block me on social media, or flat out delete her accounts, before inevitably coming back into my life to do it all over again within 2-3 business days. I've had to refollow her across all social media, at her request, roughly 10 times. It's been very emotionally draining, and it's only been going on for 5 months. The reason I'm making this post, and seeking public help, is because of the way she's begun treating me during these off periods. We're both guilty of saying things in the heat of the moment, but the words she's said to me during many of our brief parting of ways have haunted me longer than I care to admit. Things like maybe if I unalive myself you'll finally leave me alone and I'd rather not talk to you at all, and other, worse things. Disclaimer: I never was the one to initiate contact again, or initiate the relationship as a whole. That was all her decision and initiative. I just kept to myself and cried over the rejection. We recently had another one of these off periods, where she suggested being just friends, and that we didn't participate in Valentine's Day like we were planning. I agreed. As little as 15 hours later, she was acting oddly over my interactions with another friend via Twitter, claiming it was flirting, saying every time I get a notification, "I hope it's from you," when I was asleep, and then dropping another, "I just want to leave, but you won't let me bomb. I just don't know what to do anymore. I can't keep doing this." Her mood swings are frequent and emotionally distressing to me. As I have mental health issues, I won't disclose that cause mood swings, so it isn't healthy for me to be around that behavior. It worsens me. I just want her to stop all this and genuinely want to be a part of my life, but I don't know how, and she's already told me she doesn't care what I think anymore. Should I just give up and let this go? Wow, that sounds like an incredibly toxic and emotionally draining situation. It's clear that this on and off dynamic with your ex-partner is causing you a lot of pain and distress. It might be time to prioritize your own mental health and well-being and let go of this roller coaster relationship. You deserve someone who genuinely wants to be a part of your life and treats you with respect. My husband and I have a ridiculously unbalanced workload. How do you motivate an apathetic, loafing spouse? My husband and I, married for 10 years with 3 children, made the decision for him to work part-time after my maternity leave. This was mainly because daycare for our 3 kids, including a newborn, would cost more than double our monthly mortgage payment. He works 8-hour day shifts while I work 12-hour night shifts. Since I earn significantly more, it made sense for him to go part-time, and he was agreeable and enthusiastic about it. Our son was born in January 2023, and I returned to work in February 2023. We agreed that he would work 3 days a week for a total of 24 hours, while I worked 36-48 hours a week from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. He took on most household duties, such as preparing dinner, grocery shopping, and cleaning. We alternate picking up and dropping off our 2 older children at school. I manage our household budget, handle bill pay, assist with our kids' homework, pack their lunches, schedule doctor dental appointments, plan birthdays, holidays, vacations, and attend school conferences. Initially, my husband did a great job fulfilling his responsibilities when I returned to work. He cooked daily, went grocery shopping regularly, and kept up with household chores. He would get the kids ready in the morning, prepare breakfast, and help with their homework. He even made sure we had dinner together before I left for my night shift. Unfortunately, this didn't last long. Now, he barely manages to work 21 hours a week. There are times when I come home at 7:45 a.m. to find him still in bed, the baby crying in his crib, the other 2 kids looking unkempt, and no one having had breakfast or combed their hair. He only cooks a real meal about 3 nights a week, and the rest of the time, it's just ramen noodles. He only picks up groceries about half the time, with me often having to cover the bulk of the shopping. He rarely completes any housework, aside from doing 1 or 2 loads of laundry per week, which usually ends up sitting in the washing machine and needing to be rewashed. If it does make it to the dryer, it sits there until either our older children or I fold it. He only helps with the housework once I'm home and actively doing chores, and even then, he needs direction. It's frustrating because the dirty showers, toilets, piled up dishes, and sticky floors should be obvious. Our older kids have daily chores, but I don't expect them to provide a full maid service. When my husband is off, I only get about 5-6 hours of sleep on workdays. He's noisy throughout the day, and the loud television often interrupts my sleep. Sometimes our schedules overlap, and during those times I have the baby with me all day while he's at work. I'm lucky to get a combined total of 3-4 hours of sleep during the baby's nap times. I come home from work around 7:45-8:00, pack lunches, help the kids with their hair and outfits, and he leaves with them for school around 8:15 a.m. Then, he heads to work if he's scheduled. I usually fall asleep around 9:30 a.m. and wake up around 2:30 p.m. to pick up the kids from school on my husband's working days. We get home around 4 p.m., and I continue to help the kids with homework and chores. My husband usually arrives home around 4:30 p.m. By that point, I need to grab something to eat, pack a meal for my shift, shower, and get ready for work. I leave for work at 6:15 p.m. I'm completely exhausted, burning the candle at both ends. I have no time for myself. When I asked him to start helping with homework again on my work nights, the kids' grades dropped, and he became unreasonably frustrated with them. So I took over the homework duties entirely. I've also asked him several times to provide receipts for his purchases since I manage our finances. He'll do it for a week or 2 but then stop. This makes it difficult for me to keep track of our expenses, especially when he frequently swipes his card. When I mention grocery shopping, he tells me to make him a list instead of taking initiative himself. At that point, I might as well do it on my own. I've expressed my frustration with his laziness and lack of accountability, but he becomes defensive and shuts down. On his days off, he spends most of his time parked on the couch watching TV or playing on his phone. He seems to have little desire or motivation to do much else. He has gained a significant amount of weight, neglects to take his blood pressure medication, and I worry about his overall health. However, I'm already exhausted without having to mother another person, especially another adult. After months of persuasion, he agreed to see a therapist in December. He has unresolved issues related to his mother, and finally, after realizing I was at my breaking point, he scheduled therapy sessions on a weekly basis. I had hoped that therapy would help him address his issues and improve his behavior. However, I'm not convinced it's making much of a difference. Despite trying to remain empathetic, I'm increasingly annoyed by his inconsiderate and childish behavior, as well as his inability to take responsibility or a leadership role in our household. This current arrangement is simply not sustainable. Are there other ways to motivate him? Is there something I might be overlooking in this situation? What should I reasonably expect him to gain from therapy? Are the original terms we agreed upon practical? Any input would be appreciated. It sounds like you're really carrying the weight of the household and parenting responsibilities on your own, and it's understandable that you're feeling exhausted and frustrated. It's good that your husband is attending therapy, but it's also important for him to take accountability for his actions and make changes. Maybe you could try having a conversation with him about your concerns, setting clear expectations, and finding ways to motivate him to step up more. Ultimately, it's about finding a balance that works for both of you, so it might be worth revisiting the original terms you agreed upon and reassessing what's practical for your current situation. Hang in there, and I hope things improve for you soon. My fiancé tried to cheat on me. How do I confront him? We are currently engaged and in the process of planning our wedding. We have already booked the venue and honeymoon and are now working on finalizing the details. Overall, things have been going well, but there is an issue that needs to be addressed. My partner's difficulty in communicating when he is angry. He has been honest about his past, although it took him 7 months to disclose this information. He confessed to cheating on 2 of his ex-partners due to frequent arguments. He assured me that he would not make the same mistake again, emphasizing that it would be different now that we are engaged or married. He even mentioned how remorseful he felt when his previous partner discovered his infidelity because she was a kind person who didn't deserve it. Unfortunately, his past experiences have caused him to develop trust issues, leading him to go through my phone while I am asleep. I have caught him doing this on a few occasions and have urged him to simply ask if he wants to see something, as I am willing to show him. However, a recent incident has shaken me. Currently, I have his laptop at my house. Out of curiosity, I decided to go through his contacts and emails. Although his contacts were not up to date on iCloud, I did notice that he had saved 3 escort numbers. I admit this annoyed me, but I chose to overlook it. The real problem arose when I checked his sent emails. I can't even explain why I did it, but I am somewhat relieved that I did. In October of 2023, while we were still engaged, he had emailed an escort girl requesting a meeting. He inquired about her availability, pricing, and what the next steps would be. I cross-referenced this with my own photos from that weekend and realized I was out of town visiting my family at the time. Out of curiosity, I even sent an email to that escort girl myself and received an automatic response containing links to her booking page, Instagram, OnlyFans, and Pornhub sites. The automatic response was deleted from his inbox, so I have no way to know for sure if he followed through with the meeting or if he has engaged in similar actions before or since then. I do travel to visit my family once a month, and while I did return the very next day after this incident, it still bothers me that he even attempted it. I feel like I'm in a state of shock. Initially, my heart was racing, but now I find myself in denial. It's as if I didn't really see what I saw, and I'm already making excuses for him, assuming it was a mistake and that he would never do something like that again. I am incredibly confused and unsure how to confront him. He is actually planning to come over tonight, but I don't want to bring this up in person because I fear he will just make excuses for his behavior. I don't want it to turn into a simple apology where he promises not to repeat it. However, I'm at a loss as to how I can initiate this conversation. If I send him a text asking for some time alone, I'm afraid he will disregard it and come over anyway, insisting that we talk. Additionally, it's concerning that we have access to each other's locations, as that alone cannot prevent someone from cheating if they truly want to. Please, I am in desperate need of advice on how to address this issue. I also need guidance on whether this situation justifies ending our engagement. It's definitely concerning that your fiancé has a history of cheating, and now you've discovered these emails to an escort. I understand your confusion and shock, and I think it's important to confront him about it. Maybe try texting him beforehand to let him know you need some space to process things before talking. And honestly, based on his past and this new discovery, it seems like ending the engagement might be for the best. Trust is vital in a relationship, and it seems like there are some serious trust issues here. Take care of yourself and trust your instincts. My girlfriend cheated on me for years. Should I stay in the relationship? I have been in a relationship for 7 years. When my girlfriend and I started dating, she was in high school, grade 10. We dated for a few months, she became pregnant, and then she moved in with me before the baby was born. She was a virgin before we had sex. After our child was born, I took care of the child and encouraged her to continue her education. We are only 3 years apart in age difference. When she went back to school, she started dating multiple guys. She first dated her ex-boyfriend and slept with him. They had been in a previous relationship but had not had sex before. They eventually broke up and she dated another guy at the same school. She visited her ex-boyfriend 3 times, having sex with him twice each time. With the other guy, they only had sex once. She then dated yet another guy and had sex with him multiple times. By the time the third guy came along, she was no longer in school. I was unaware of these affairs. She also had other encounters during our relationship, which she claimed did not involve sex or were close calls at most. However, I found her Facebook account under mutual friends and questioned her about it. Although I trusted her, I requested her login information. She complied, but it was clear she had deleted suspicious texts, leaving only one that she denied having any involvement with. It was evident something was going on. I continued my investigation and eventually discovered she was cheating on me, first with one person and then with another. I couldn't believe she had done all of that, especially since most of her affairs involved people I would often encounter. I tried to end the relationship, but she begged and cried, refusing to leave even when I tried to assert my power. I couldn't bear to hurt her and I still loved her. She promised to do anything to save our relationship. One guy she mentioned had a penis she couldn't fit her hand around, and the thought still troubles me today. We now have 2 kids together, and for the past 3 years out of our 7-year relationship, she has been faithful. Our children are happy when they spend time with both of us. Our families get along well, and we have been together for so long. I am unsure if I still love her after everything that has happened, and I do not know if she loves me either. My self-esteem has taken a heavy blow, and although I have considered therapy, I cannot afford it. I am lost and unsure of what to do. I want to leave, but my deep love for my kids makes it incredibly difficult. She is apologetic, shows remorse, and is willing to do whatever it takes to mend our relationship, but it feels like there is nothing left to fix. I am truly at a loss and do not know what to do. It's understandable that you're feeling conflicted and unsure about what to do. It might be helpful to talk to a therapist or seek some professional guidance to help you navigate through these complicated emotions and find some clarity. Hang in there, and I hope you find the right path for yourself and your children. Am I the antagonist for refusing to pay back money to my dad that I didn't borrow from him? I, a 44-year-old man, borrowed a significant amount of money from my grandmother around 15 years ago to buy a newer car. At that time, my credit was in bad shape due to a recent divorce and subsequent bankruptcy. Initially, I had asked my grandmother to co-sign a loan, but she decided to pay for the car herself as she was financially comfortable. We did not draw up a formal agreement for the loan. I made substantial repayments towards the vehicle, and both of us were satisfied with the arrangement. About a year into our agreement, I lost my job and my salary was reduced by half. Despite this, I tried my best to continue repaying the loan by making direct deposits from my paycheck, albeit in smaller amounts. However, when the bankruptcy was filed, my direct deposits ceased without my knowledge. My grandmother then told me to pay whatever I could, whenever I could. Due to financial difficulties, the payments to her became less frequent and in smaller sums. Eventually, my grandmother decided to forgive the loan due to the strain it was causing on our relationship and our family. Fast forward approximately 8 years, and my grandmother has passed away, leaving a substantial inheritance comprised of money and property to my father and his other 3 siblings. Although I won't disclose the specific amount, it was significant but not life-altering. My father is retired with a generous pension, and his wife also has a stable financial situation. I do not have a positive relationship with his wife, whom he started dating less than 2 months after my mother's passing. Unbeknownst to me, my grandmother's will stated that any outstanding debt owed by her grandchildren at the time of her death would be deducted from the inheritance given to the respective parent. As a result, my father and stepmother received a smaller inheritance compared to 2 of my father's siblings. The third sibling also received less due to their own child owing money to my grandmother. After my grandmother's passing, my dad asked to meet with me. During breakfast, he unexpectedly brought up when I would begin repaying him the money I owed. I was perplexed because I had never borrowed money from him, so I asked for clarification. He believed that I owed him the debt I had with my grandmother, since it transferred to him after her death. I informed him that I was unaware that my debt to my grandmother was now owed to him, as that was never explained to me. Furthermore, my financial situation was not stable at the time, as my new wife had recently lost her job due to an injury that was not her fault, leading to a significant decrease in our household income. Despite knowing our financial struggles, my dad still chose to request repayment. I expressed that I did not owe him a debt, as I never borrowed money from him, and even if I did, I was not in a position to pay it back. Apart from my grandmother's will, there were no legal agreements involved regarding this money. Following that meeting, we have had no contact. Am I the one at fault in this situation? Your grandmother forgave the loan, and it wasn't explicitly mentioned that the debt would transfer to your father after her passing. It's unfair for him to suddenly demand repayment, especially knowing your financial situation. It's understandable that you're NC with him now. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.